As high-level discussions begin, Ukraine has issued a firm set of conditions for any potential ceasefire with Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky, after consultations with European leaders, outlined 5 central demands that Kyiv considers non-negotiable. The first requirement is a permanent ceasefire. Ukraine insists it will not cede any territory, including Crimea and the eastern regions occupied by Russian forces since 2014. This position effectively blocks Russia's attempts to legitimize its annexations. Second, Kyiv is calling for reparations. Damages from the war are estimated between $500 billion and $1 trillion, with Ukraine proposing that frozen Russian assets abroad, worth about €300 billion, be used as partial payment. The third demand centers on security guarantees. Ukraine rejects Moscow's calls for neutrality and seeks long-term integration into NATO and the European Union. Kyiv also refuses demilitarization and stresses the importance of continued Western military support to prevent future aggression. Fourth, Ukraine demands the release of all prisoners of war and the return of children taken to Russia. Western estimates suggest around 6,000 to 8,000 Ukrainian soldiers remain in Russian custody, while as many as 20,000 children have been transferred to Russian territory. Finally, Kyiv insists that international sanctions on Russia remain in place, regardless of any U.S.-Russia rapprochement. Zelensky has warned against any agreement that could allow Moscow to recover economically while the war's consequences remain unresolved. These terms, while clear, leave little room for compromise. Analysts argue that if Russia were to accept them, it would mean relinquishing all territorial gains, paying massive reparations and facing continued sanctions, a scenario that would deeply undermine Moscow's position. For now, Ukraine's strategy appears aimed at ensuring its interests are fully protected, even if that prolongs the conflict. The outcome of these negotiations could shape not only Ukraine's future but also the wider security landscape in Europe.